Well, welcome everyone. We are a gathering of vegan grandmothers. We started out as grandparents, understanding that there was a new, but a very ancient tribal understanding of the important role of grandparents. And in North America, we seem to have very little reverence for the elders in some traditions, and the older traditions, they really understood the power of grandparents. But the one thing that we do know is that grandchildren that have loving grandparents enjoy them very much. And that's what we all are here to talk about, that we are grandparents in love with our grandchildren. And not every one of us has been able to have an impact to create a vegan diet for our grandchildren. And what's that like? And how do we maintain our integrity in that place and also our sense of love and belonging? Beth, would you like to say something about being a vegan grandmother and what that means in the life work that you're doing right now?
Thank you so much, Tammy. I just appreciate this vision of a million vegan grandmothers and want to extend an invitation to anybody out there, whether you identify as a grandmother or not, to join us. Having this consciousness of being a grandmother isn't the sole privilege or responsibility of just those of us who have children who have children. We all need to have the consciousness of being stewards of the earth and to shift what we center ourselves around as human societies to what will work for uplifting all life and making sure that all life can thrive, as opposed to what will make the most money for the fewest people. We need the grandmother consciousness, that consciousness of knowing that it's not just for me, but it's for those that come after me. So I want to say that what motivates me to do this work is all of the children of the world, my grandchildren, everybody's grandchildren. In terms of being a vegan grandmother, what's one of the most sacred things for me about it is that I have motivation to do this work. I'm 65 years old. I've had a lot of time on this beautiful earth that is so worthy of great stewardship. And I want all of the children of the world to have that as well for as long as they live, and for their children too as well. And so that is what motivates me. When I think about my precious little ones, I have one big grandchild who's way bigger than me, 17 years old and 6'4", and huge feet and all that. And then we have two little ones as well. And what I want for them is a world in which the human presence on earth is compassionate and just and kind and well-fed and sustainable and healthy. And that is essentially a vegan world.
I loved an anecdote from another interview you did where you're talking about how you had grandmas doing a letter writing campaign.
Yeah, it was the third largest shareholder in Huntington Life Sciences, the lab we were targeting. I was young and I was like, letter writing's a waste of time. And these grandmas were like, hey, we're doing a letter writing campaign. And they would get together and they'd write letters every week or every month or something. And they would call the office and be like, hey, just letting you know we're doing our letter writing. We're like, yeah, great. And they did it for like 6 months or 12 months or something. And finally we were like, we should do a demonstration against Oracle to, support their letter writing campaign. And so we organized a protest and we put out a press release saying we were going there. And then we got a call from Oracle and we're like, we're going to sell our shares in the lab. And we're like, okay, well, what we always do is like, can you write us a letter saying you're done with the lab and we'll make it public so people know? And they said, sure. They wrote this letter and it was basically like, the lab, we thought was going to turn itself around, but it's still engaged in like terrible animal cruelty, something we didn't want to be associated with. But mostly we just need these letters to stop. Like enough with these letters being written to us. As like these grandmas had written so many letters to this company that they were like, God, just make the letters stop. Like we don't want anymore. And that really like changed my mind about the idea of like, we need all the tactics. Because previously I was like, we need action. We need, heavy handed this and protests and get in people's faces, letter writing. What a waste of time. And then it's like, well, they moved this giant corporation that we couldn't do. And it really, it was a good lesson to be learned that it's really all the tactics coming together that makes it work.
Probably warn you, we'll be just fine. I wanted to read the pledge and the declaration of the vegan grandmothers for everyone on this very special day. As the million vegan grandmothers and wisdom keepers, we gather to express our fierce love for our children and grandchildren and invite everyone to take our Homo Ahimsa pledge. And Ahimsa is Sanskrit for non-harm, non-violence, a beautiful word. Here's the pledge, and we invite everyone to take this pledge. I pledge to honor and protect all the animals, peoples, and Mother Earth herself by following an infinitely sustainable, cruelty-free vegan lifestyle that heals the climate and restores right relationships in the true spirit of Homo Ahimsa for all generations to come. And here is our declaration. We, the million vegan grandmothers, join together using the power of love. Love for the children and grandchildren of all beings and for Mother Earth. Welcome are all people, regardless of gender, age, and official grandmother status, who align with the values of veganism and this declaration. We affirm the right of all beings to live in a natural, toxic-free environment, which allows all to thrive and to lead sacred, liberated, sovereign, and joyful lives. The power of our love is unstoppable. We do not allow this planet and all who live here to be destroyed. We are creating a vegan world of peace, freedom, and loving kindness for all. We believe that the true nature of human beings and our highest calling is to be kind, compassionate, non-violent, and partners with, not dominators of all life. We believe this is the time of the great awakening of humanity to leave behind the destructive nature of Homo sapiens and become who we've always been destined to be, Homo Ahimsa. As vegan grandmothers, we are here to midwife the birth of the new compassionate human and bring in the new era of a vegan Ahimsa world so that our children and grandchildren and those of all species can thrive and be free. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and have a beautiful, beautiful day.
Here's why, because I'm happy that the world is vegan, like a room without a roof. Cause I'm happy come along if you feel like kindness is the truth. Because I'm happy come along if you know what happiness is to you. Yeah, come along if you feel like that's all we wanna do.
May I read this poem? We come together in droves, swarms, earth walking from each direction, us vegan friends, teachers, the grandmothers, the spirit tellers, and the grandmother of us all, with the torch of vegan velocity, of wise ones seeking strength in our million, gathering for our children, grandchildren, and for their next 7 generations, if this will be. The next 7 generations, if this will be. The grandmothers are gathering strong. The grandmothers are here to sing a new song, a song to heal. We are coming together, us warriors of light, wisdom in our shining crow's feet and strong working hands. We are the million vegan grandmothers, Kukums, Oma, Loka, Mama, Noni, many names. We are here. Thank you. Please join us. climatehealers.org. Join the million vegan grandmothers as we join together. Thank you for being here.
Hello, Erica. Hello, everyone. Pleased to be here.
Yay. So I also want to just mention that you have been 60 plus years on the vegan path.
That's right. Yes.
So this is remarkable. And the focus that we want to look at today is a program that you started in schools with youth, trying to help them learn how to do vegan cooking. And so before we dive in, I want to show some pictures because a picture is worth 1,000 words. So let's get a few pictures up here. Let's see what this looks like in action. And then I want to hear some stories about what this program is, how you've thought of it, how it happened. So that is your book on the cover, the book that you created for the kids, yeah?
Yes, that's the book that came out of the classes and the activities I was doing with children. And we involved quite a few kids in it, from the after-school program, neighborhood kids, family kids, and so on.
Take a look at these kids that Freya has been teaching. That adorable kid is making tofu salad, I believe, right?
That's right, yes.
One of the recipes from the book.
We teach children to use knives and be safe in the kitchen. A lot of parents don't want their children in the kitchen. They think they'll be a nuisance. It'll take too long if the child's in the kitchen. And knives and things are dangerous. Well, I think it's very important to teach children how to use knives safely, because I see a lot of adults who don't know how to be safe in the kitchen. We introduce them to a lot of things that, may be commonplace to us, but in their surroundings, they don't have these foods. A lot of children have never had a date, and we just put a nut, a Brazil nut, in the center of a date and give it to them. They think it's marvelous. These two pictures are on the right-hand side is my grandson, Clint. And on the left-hand side is Nardos. Nardos is from Ethiopia, and he joined our family 3 years ago. So last year they wanted to plant vegetables, and this is the result. They had quite crowded little gardens. We had to keep the deer out, which meant that particularly Nardos's basil and beans were eaten a number of times by the deer before we managed to protect them enough so they could climb up.
The idea that grandmas are more lenient and affectionate with the grandkids isn't uncommon, but now scientists have actually put it to the test. They did brain scans of grandmothers to measure how they reacted to grandchildren, other children, and their own offspring. Researchers tested the idea that one reason women live longer than men is because of the important role women play in their grandchildren's development. What they found was when grandmothers looked at pictures of their grandchildren, the part of their brain associated with emotional empathy lit up, suggesting they are predisposed to share an emotional bond with them.
So hello, Celia. We are joining together as vegan grandmothers, and maybe soon there will be 1 million of us. So I'm wondering if you could tell us a little bit about yourself as a vegan grandmother and what you're doing as a vegan grandmother.
Hi, Tammy. Thank you. I've been vegan for 10 years. My son brought the whole notion to our home and shared some of the documentaries at that time. We decided, let's do it. It was Wednesday. We decided to start being vegan on Saturday. That's been almost 10 years in April. As the vegan mother, I saw my role as really trying to find the food that we would eat, make it a very positive thing for us, and to share it as much as possible. As the years went along, got more into activism for animals, for the planet, and saw how reaching out would be helpful to share veganism. And so that was as a very caring mother, and with, moving along with my years. 3 years ago, we had the opportunity to meet this beautiful baby. My granddaughter, Arya, came to us. Totally wonderful. Her mother is an activist. So baby has been vegan from birth. So it just helps strengthen our veganism, our activism. So along the way, I have searched for opportunities to share vegan food, to share the joy of vegan food. If it's Chili's on Wheels in Skid Row, Los Angeles, if it's sharing a presentation on how to make tamale casserole at a community college, Veg Fest, or just hosting a meetup in my home to share vegan food. Those are the things that I've done. When we attended the Women's March in Los Angeles a few years back, veganism wasn't an issue at the top of the list for women's rights. However, we carried signs about how dairy is violence against females, and that we should, as women, defend those female animals, those cows, not be harmful to them. So that was a big day where we felt that as women who are vegan and who share this goal of healing our planet through veganism, it was very unifying for us, but also sharing that message with all these women was very powerful. And so I see the grandmothers sharing across the world by mouth, by example, by sharing food, by carrying their babies with them. It's the whole world getting together as the powerful women who grandmothers can be.
So I see people around me, including a lot of grandmothers who I hope will be inspired to follow the program that I put together. It's an anti-addiction to the standard American diet protocol that's pretty straightforward and simple. As a single childless woman, when families come together, people like me have minimal influence over the menu. But the grandmothers, the real grandmothers, the big mamas, as we call them in this African American community, have all the influence. So when the big mamas go vegan and say, okay, this is how it's going to be, then everyone else will fall into line. So I've been promoting that idea in my family and other families I get a chance to speak to. I really think that magic can happen when Jewish culture, the woman who runs the house is the balabusta. So if the balabustas are running it from a vegan perspective in an anti-cruelty, pro-health, environmental health stance, then everything changes because that's where the power lies. The women run the world. So grandmothers are the top of the chain of women. So y'all will run the world and I will happily be a part of helping you do that. So I can see everything changing, just flipping effortlessly, really, because it's the men, the patriarchy, that's resisting this change. So when the power is shifted into the hands of the feminine energies, then I think the sky is the limit.
Teaching the next generation is being the example ourselves first, because you can't teach anybody unless you are an example for them, being positive and loving and understanding, but also striving for equality, which so many women all over the world don't have, and so many grandmas all over the world don't have. You know, we're living in the Western world where we take it for granted. And the more this evolves through outreach all over the world, it will help women, it will help so many young girls in their life and realize their own self-worth. Being a grandma is being a leader. That's number one. Yes.
Since I'm a relatively new vegan, I haven't even been a vegan for a year yet. I did all the wrong things with my family. Some of you may identify with that. I mean, I became very vocal with them and I received a lot of pushback. And so now I cannot say anything about veganism to my daughter, my only child, and her 2 children. I really have more questions than I have answers, but I'm so grateful to be among like-minded people. I would love to hear what you all have to say about that. Right now, we don't discuss veganism. I do know that my family is getting more educated. They do choose at this point not to give up meat. My grandson is a super picky eater, super picky. He's got a repertoire of maybe 5 things that he eats, and all of them are meat. and popcorn. But it's really great to be here. Thank you so much for having this.
Thank you so much, Gabrielle. And I think as soon as we join a community, we feel the support and we feel hope. I know that's been the case for me. And deeper than hope, it's a truth that kind of hunks down and allows us to go forward with joy and not judgment. So thank you.
So I'm the vegan example, which is so strange. You would think it would be coming from the young people as examples, but it's not. It's me, the grandmother. And so in a way, that really is kind of powerful because their friends are going, what does that mean? You know, she's old. Why would she be doing something that's radical? It kind of shocks people. So I think that's kind of an advantage that we have.
There's been so much wisdom here already, and I feel really grateful to be on this panel and for your big vision, Tammy, beautiful vision. And you had asked us to introduce ourselves as a grandmother. And so what I want to say is that I've been caring for the children of the world a lot longer than I've been a grandmother, since I was 10 years old, really. And I made a decision that the way to change the world was to change how we treat the children. It's because I was in a family in which my stepfather and my mom did not have support or tools or information about how to raise children well. And even at 10 years old, I could tell that what I was being exposed to was not in my best interest. And, you know, realize that if we could raise children differently, if we could raise children like Jane's granddaughter, Kimaya, children who are very compassionate, who have emotional intelligence, who know how to interact with others peacefully, who are wise, you know, if we could give families the support that they need to be able to raise such children, that we could indeed change the world. And I still believe that to be so.
I guess all of you know our granddaughter, Kimaya. She's going to be 11 years old. We have a great time with her. I mean, I commend all of you who have grandchildren who are not vegan, because I couldn't even imagine going through that. I take her with me to vegan potlucks. We go to vegan restaurants. When we travel, she even seeks out vegan restaurants for us. She says, oh, I'd like to try this one. And 2 years ago, we were in London with the $1 Million Vegan campaign, and we were staying in the middle of Hackney, and there were so many vegan restaurants walking distance that Kimaya just had a great time picking them out and enjoying herself. She's also a product of the Montessori program, so the next school she's going to actually has a lunch program where at least one meal will be vegan each time when she goes to lunch every day. So she's excited about not having to worry about packing a lunch at home. And mommy and daddy are thrilled that they don't have to worry about guessing what to pack for her lunch. I don't mind packing her lunch because she helps me out. It's a joy being a grandmother. Kimaya is our only grandchild at the present time. Don't know if we're going to have any others, but it's okay. She's a pleasure to have in our lives. She's changed our lives tremendously, for the good, of course. And thrilled to be part of this program too. Thank you, Tammy, for everything that you're doing. And thank you, other grandmothers too.